McGraw McGraw. This is a documentary about my trip with my brother Eldon from Vegas to Denver. 2017 trip out west, day one.
Got it.
Bag's nice and light, unlike all my gear. So just give you a little bit of backstory about myself. I grew up in East Lansing, Michigan. It's a nice Midwestern town. It's a college town where Michigan State University is. I took photography classes in high school and in college. For the last 25 years, I've worked in some aspect of media, but my real passion is photography. After that, I worked for the Detroit Tigers, worked for ABC Sports. When I got a little bit older, I started working on independent films. My brother Eldon and I have always been close. He is 10 years older, but we've always had this bond. He used to take me to a lot of places when we were younger. My parents were both working. They were there for us all the time. I have fantastic parents.
So when we were younger, we used to enjoy playing video games together, going on trips with our family down to Florida, going to Disney World and all kinds of cool family things. Again, we were 10 years apart, so it was sometimes hard to find things in common. I always found a way to connect to him and show him different areas of fun and adventure, and we really enjoyed that time together.
He could pick on me all the time, and there was not much I could do about it. You know, he'd hold me down and do the spit takes, you know, like brothers do. And then later on, Eldon had a family of his own, and I have a fantastic niece and nephew, Dalton and Aaron. All right, just picked up the convertible in Vegas. Now we're gonna head down to the strip and roll some bones and see how our luck starts off in this trip. Back in 2010, I ended up getting sober after about 17 years of drinking. And it was just time. I woke up one morning and I'd had enough.
So about 7 years ago, I got a call from John, and he was really quite depressed.
I was just beat down. I was tired, exhausted, and I knew I needed to make a change.
He told me he'd hit rock bottom with his drinking and that he had to do something about it.
I had a friend that had been sober about 5 years at the time, and so I called him and just told him I needed some help. I'd never done that before. I'd always taken some breaks here and there, but I'd never really asked for help like this.
It was the beginning of changing his entire life, and I'm so proud of him.
During that time period, I was able to meet my wife, Diane. She got sober about 10 days before me, so it's just been great to go through this process with her. So I got a stepdaughter, Jasmine. She just graduated from college. She's going to get her master's right now, and has just, you know, her and Diane have brought just so much joy to my life that I never could imagine. This is my little travel tripod. I got the bigger one over here. I rented a GigaPan so I can do panoramic photos that I'm going to use my bigger tripod for, and then this one I'll just use for more of the traveling and hiking around. It'll be a lot easier. So right now we're at the Valley of Fire, me and my brother Eldon, doing an 11-day trip out here. It's only about 109 degrees, not too bad. We just came from Vegas, stopped at a casino real quick, played a little crafts, just about a half hour's worth, and then we came out here and we're heading to Zion National Park tonight to hike there the next couple days. It's pretty toasty out here. Growing up, I was always a little overweight. I was a little bigger than all the rest of the kids. I look back now, and I wasn't that overweight, to be honest. When I graduated high school, I was about the weight I am now. I was about 230 pounds. But at the time, I always felt bigger. I always felt that I was overweight. I was fat.
When John was in high school, he was really into sports. And then as he became a young adult in his 20s, you know, he started gaining a lot of weight.
After high school, I ended up gaining about 10 pounds a year for the next decade, 2 decades. One story, me and my brother were heading out to Dallas. We go to the stockyards and we're eating dinner. We're walking by and there's this big cattle scale. Put a quarter in and it shows you the weight, and it kind of goes back and forth, and then it kind of settles in. I'm 280 pounds at the time. You know, I'm like, wow, I'm almost 300 pounds. I didn't know I'd gain another 130 pounds from there.
He got up over 300, maybe even close to 400 pounds.
Here we are after about a 22-hour travel day. So we got our bag here, our box from all our hiking stuff. And now we're going to get settled in for the night and have an early morning tomorrow. Probably take off about 5 in the morning, hit the first shuttle at 6. In November of 2014, my wife Diane and I got back from a trip to Key West. My back was hurting, my legs were hurting. I knew I had to change my life.
When he made the decision to lose weight, with surgery, I was really proud of him for doing that, and he had the right mindset for it.
I went and saw a gastric bypass surgeon, and I decided to go ahead and go forward with having Roux-en-Y gastric bypass.
His goal was to have the surgery to give a kickstart to change his life, start exercising, and to start eating better.
Went to a dietitian. I learned what I needed to eat, how I needed to change my life. It's a tool to get healthy, to eat better, to exercise, and to do the things you want to do.
And there's no way we could have went on this adventure without him dropping that weight and being in better condition.
Pretty much every day I'm trying to get out and do something. And I'm just living a healthier life. You just got to change your mindset, and that's what the surgery did. It gave me the opportunity to lose the weight, to be able to exercise like I want to.
So the very first hike in this trip was a place called Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. And I didn't really know much about it because I had John plan this trip and I didn't really research it or think about it ahead of time.
We've done about a half mile so far, and now we're going to start doing the real switchback right here.
Well, we walked a couple miles up the switchbacks. It was very tough. And then John said, "Oh, the tough part's coming up now." I'm like, wow, it's already been really tough. So we walked up about a half mile up the side of this mountain with these chains. And it was very challenging because as we're going up, some people are coming down. There was big drop-offs on each side. And it was pretty intense.
All right, we've done one part of the chains. I think we got some more coming up. Beautiful view and pretty crazy hike so far. That was tricky. You know, this trip we're doing for several different reasons. One of them is for my... we're doing this trip for many reasons. You know, a month ago today, my sister-in-law Jenny McGraw passed away, Eldon's wife, and so we're doing an 11-day trip just to get out of town and kind of clear the head, and it's something Jenny would have wanted. You know, she wanted Eldon to live a life and be happy, and they were supposed to be on vacation this week, so we decided to come out here.
On June 1st, 2017, my beautiful wife Jenny passed away very suddenly. It was very traumatic for me and our family and our kids. And during that grieving process, I asked John to schedule a trip for us because Jenny and I were going to go on a trip together.
Obviously, the circumstances of why we were taking the trip were horrible, but to be able to get together, to be able to go and experience all these things, and to help him, you know, kind of heal in a little way.
It also gave me time to reflect on a daily basis about Jenny and our short life as a married couple together.
He's not healed, and he never will be. It's a horrible loss that he's been through.
And what a beautiful person she was.
But you know, to be there as a brother, it was just fantastic to take this trip and just spend the time together.
It was a special time to reflect, and I'm glad that we did this.
First team up here. Look it. What?
All right, we're about halfway down the chain length part, and it's pretty tough going down. I got the 16mm lens. It's really wide. Nice. Hopefully you can hear me over the air conditioner because I'm not turning it down. We just got back from doing the hike up to Angel's Landing, and we just went and got some ice cream to reward ourselves from all the hard work. During the process of planning the trip, I just happened to make a offhanded comment that, you know, someday I'd like to do a documentary about my photography, and I'd actually like to do some documentaries myself on other people.
I just told John, plan it and I'll follow. I knew he wanted to go out west, and I loved going out west. You know, as time went on in the planning process, I told him I wanted to shoot a documentary of him because his photography was so cool and special. I wanted to capture something behind the scenes of what he does professionally as a photographer.
I said, if you want to, that's cool. That'd be sweet. That'd be great.
It would also give me something to do behind the scenes, because I love media, and I knew it would help him to let the world see his wonderful world of photography.
And hopefully to be able to show you guys and to have you see a little bit of behind the scenes of my photography, and just hopefully the passion for my photography comes out in this. That's what I hope the most. It's just that you see how much I enjoy it.
How's the body feeling after day one?
The front of my legs are pretty sore right here. The rest of my body's feeling pretty decent, but yeah, I'm pretty sore right here from, I think, walking down Angel's Landing. We just took the shuttle up to the Narrows. So it's about a 40-minute shuttle ride. We got there right at about 6. We got the second shuttle about 6:15. So I'm guessing it's right around 7 now. And we're about to do a mile hike to the base of the Narrows, and then we start walking through the water and through the rocks.
Probably the most unique hike of the whole trip was on the Narrows in Zion National Park. You have this water that you walk through, and it goes up to about your waist at some points, and these beautiful canyons right above you. And it was a perfect day out. John got to do some cool underwater photography for the first time in his career, so I was able to capture that, which I really enjoy. What a unique experience to be able to be in water, in canyons on a beautiful summer day.
Just beautiful. You walk through these rapids and through rocks, and then you get on some dry parts, and just majestic landscapes all over. Everywhere you look, you have to take your time and sometimes just look up, because you're looking down all the time, looking where you're putting your feet. I was able to do some underwater photography with the bag that I got that kept my camera dry. Worked really well. So I got some nice shots underwater, got some half underwater, half above. Had a great time. We walked, I'd say, about 2 miles in and 2 miles back on that. And then I did get a blister on my big toe, so we'll see how that goes. So here I got the Gigapan set up. It's taken 119 photos to do the panoramic, and it's going to stitch them all together when I get back to the hotel room. Lovely Palace Station. Look at it in all its glory.
One of the great things about this trip I was really looking forward to was visiting my best friend Abu. Abu had moved to Vegas a couple years ago, and so I'd only seen him once in the last year.
And we're out at Red Rock Canyon doing the 13-mile trip, I believe it is, on the road. And then we did a small little hike on the other side, and another kind of side road with Abu. And then we're going to do some hiking tomorrow. So yet again, another beautiful view.
We were able to spend a weekend with him. He showed us around Vegas, took us hiking. It was just a great experience to see his world and what he does on a daily basis with his hiking and all his endeavors. We had a great time, and he made me laugh and think about positive things, and gave me a boost that I really needed on this trip.
We're at the Pinball Hall of Fame in Vegas. Came to see Tim, who used to work at Pinball Pete's or own Pinball Pete's. Just went and talked to him for a little bit. Now me, Eldon, and Abu are here at the Pinball Hall of Fame, just playing a few old school games, having a good time.
One of the days we were spending time with Abu, we went up to this Mount Charleston, about 45-minute drive out of Vegas. It was really cool because we got there and it was probably 25-30 degrees less than Vegas, so that was a nice relief. That mountain kicked our butt. We started climbing up, and the altitude really got to us. So Abu normally climbs that in about 35 minutes, and it took us probably an hour and 45 just to climb up. So it was definitely a challenge for us Midwest boys to hit that altitude.
Right now we're at Saddleback. It's part of the Mount Charleston Trail, and it was about 2 or 2.5 mile hike. For us, it was the elevation that really got to us more than the actual hike, but we have hiked a few big hikes in the last few days. So we're going to turn around and go back down the 2.5 miles, and then probably relax for a little bit, and then maybe go out to dinner, maybe see Fremont Street, probably do a little bit of gambling. I'm going to go shoot some Gigapan stuff tonight. I'm going to head out to Vegas, over to the east side of Vegas, and try and shoot back towards the sun setting. I might not catch sunset, but might get blue hour, or just catch it at night.
One of the stops in this trip is a place called Lake Powell, and we had a Camaro that we used on this trip, and John was taking some photos, and I needed to use the car to go up to the restroom about 100 yards away. Well, it's real sandy, and I got stuck in the sand, and I tried to back it in and out, and it just wasn't moving. So we had a couple guys, real nice guys, pulled us out. They really helped us out so we didn't have to get a tow. They had a big truck, and they hooked us up. All right, we're heading up to Horseshoe Bend. It's about 103 degrees right now. We're gonna go up this hill and then down another path. John went there a couple years ago and did a photo, and I really thought it was a sweet photo. So on our trip, he planned to stop there. And what an incredible place. It's almost hard to explain, but what an incredible spot to see this bend, this kind of greenish, bluish water below you. There's high wind. It was kind of intense, actually. And my crazy brother John was leaning right over the edge to get the photo. I was a little worried about him, but you can't stop him from doing what he loves. So let him do his thing, and I just videotaped him, and he came up with some great photos.
The hike here wasn't too bad, but most of it's downhill here. Going back is going to be the hard part. The good thing is it's windy today. The last time I was here was about 119, I think it was, and there was no wind, and I just lost about 150 pounds, so I really wasn't in shape. But this time, hopefully, it'll be a little bit better going back. So we're 4 miles away from the entrance to the park, and this is one of my favorite times, is actually getting to a new place, and then you have to find out where you want to shoot from. And right now we have about a half hour, 45 minutes till sunset. So this is going to be a scramble of finding the exact spot, or finding a spot that we want to shoot it, and then try and get to another spot, and just kind of adapt as we go and see what it looks like. And we just crossed the Arizona state line from Utah.
The most beautiful part of the trip was Monument Valley. We arrived there at sunset, and I was just blown away by the beauty and the uniqueness of the terrain. Found this location, wanted to get at least one in the can, as they say, and then go from there. So we'll go into the park here, it looks like, and maybe see if we can find another spot. All right, just got done shooting sunset. It's already set, so the sun was at the top of each of those peaks. Beautiful. I did a couple of Gigapans, and then I've done some other regular photos. And we'll probably stick around just to see if anything happens with the actual sunset, which is probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. So right now I'm shooting long exposure. It's about 20 minutes after sunset, so it really brings out the blues in the sky, and it really brings out the colors of the rocks really vibrant. So it should be a really unique look. All right, so I just go through my checklist every morning: cameras, batteries, foot gear on this trip because of my toe. Won't be taking my laptop. Got the Gigapan, the tripod, all the mounts that go to it, car keys, wallet, so just all the normal stuff. Do this every morning, talk to myself out loud so I kind of remember. And I think I got everything, so we're gonna go hit sunrise at Monument Valley. It's just already pink right now, so we gotta get on the road. Saw the best thing I've ever seen in nature, the sunrise over Monument Valley, and I got to see John in action, capturing with the Gigapan this incredible panoramic view of the sunrise, and how he would run around and grab his other camera to make sure he captured these moments, because you have a short period of time, and his focus and his professionalism was quite a joy to watch.
We have a beautiful sunrise here. I'm doing a Gigapan, trying to catch the sun coming right up. Doing it a little bit wider this time than normal so that I can take less photos, so that I can get it in the time frame that I need. And the sun's just beautiful right there, so I might even be able to get two. This one's only going to take about 3.5 minutes, so I might be able to get it with this nice kind of orange pink, and then might be able to redo it again with the actual sunbeam coming out. Now we're doing the dirt road. It's a 13-mile one-way road, and we're probably about a mile into it. Pretty rough terrain, especially for a convertible. But we're just going to hit some of the iconic spots before we get out of the park. So what I'm doing now is I'm just editing. So I imported them all into Lightroom after I got them on my hard drive. This was a shot right there that we did this morning with the wood in the foreground and the monuments in the background with the sun coming through. That turned out really well. I did a lot of Gigapan, which I'll have to edit later because we're going to be traveling to Arches right now. So I'll probably edit those on the way while my brother Eldon drives. So this is typically what I do is I'll go and shoot, then I download them, I'll look through them, pick the best of the best right now, edit them on the road, and then when I get home I'll go through and look through all of them, so I take thousands of photos just in case I miss something.
Another stop we made was the Arches National Park in Utah.
And this is the first one, which is called Park Avenue. We had about a 3-hour drive from Monument Valley this morning. So we went back to the room, relaxed for a little bit, and then drove up here, stopped, got some lunch, and now we're going to go through Arches and see a few arches. Probably won't do any big hikes today. It's 103 degrees right now. Obviously we've been hiking a lot lately, but we're going to go see a few at least. But here's another spectacular view. And we got some nice clouds, which should give it some nice depth to the photo. And should take about 14 minutes, I think. So we're going to get in the shade, let it do its thing.
When John told me about the stop at Rocky Mountain National Park on our trip, I was really excited about that because I've been trying to go to Colorado for my whole life and I've never been there. All the mountains there and to see some of the wildlife running around and to see John capture some of that nature was a lot of fun. Quite an adventure to drive up to the mountains and survive some of the elements, the changes of temperature in one day, and you just can't beat the view up there.
We're at Rocky Mountain National Park. We got here about 45 minutes ago. We're heading up to the Continental Divide and then on to the east part. We're on the west part of the park right now. So sometimes as a photographer, you gotta sit in the rain and get your shot. When I started this shot 15 minutes ago, it was fine, but up here in the mountains, it can change quick. Of course, I don't have a rain jacket.
Towards the end of our trip, we went to Denver, and about hour and a half away is Colorado Springs. And Jenny was born in Colorado Springs in 1971 in Fort Carson. I wanted to go there to visit where she was born. So I drove down and I took her shawl and I went to the gates of Fort Carson and took a selfie photo there in her honor and her memory. And it was a nice chance for me to really see where she was born, how beautiful it was there. And she only lived there for a short time until she was about 6 months old because she really grew up in Alabama. But it was a moment for me, and again, another time to reflect.
I did some street photography in Denver and also went to the Capitol. Then came back, did some editing. I also went to 16th Street, and pretty cool place with a bunch of artists and street musicians, things like that. So I was able to capture some photos there. Came home, did some editing, and then uploaded some to Instagram now that we have pretty good internet here. So this is me relaxing after a day of shooting. We're gonna go out and get some dinner tonight.
Another great friend lives in the Denver area, Jeff Johnson. He's been out there for over 20 years, so we were able to visit with him and his girlfriend Julie, and we had a great time visiting. Again, it was good for my soul to connect with great friends on this trip. He's been very supportive of me during this tough time, so I really appreciate that moment together with him and with his girlfriend Julie.
Only got about 4 hours of sleep per night for the last 8 days, so today is really catching up to me, so I'm pretty beat. Hey, what's up? Yep, love you too. So we're heading to the airport. We'll be home later. All right. Yep. All right. Bye. All right. So we just packed the car. We're heading to the airport. We have a 2:15 flight. So that's Mountain Time. So about 4:15 our time. So we should get home about 7:30, something like that. Then we got about an hour and a half drive home. So hopefully by 9:10 we'll be home and in our beds. All right, we made it to Detroit. It was a direct flight, wasn't too bad. The dry heat is definitely over. It's nice and sticky here. So, you know, the 100 dry heat, yeah, much better. As you can tell, the weather is delightful. The sun did just pop out through the rain, but as soon as we got in the car, it started downpouring. So we left sunny and 100, sunny and 90. And here we are, almost hydroplaning in lovely Michigan. Not too bad of a day, actually. It took us longer in the rental car, or in the car place to get this car than anything, but it wasn't too bad. So it was a good day traveling back. We left at a good time, and we had a blast. So until the next adventure, this is it.
I think one of the best things about this trip for me is the brotherhood. John and I are super close. We share a love of media, and to be able to watch him take photos while I was shooting footage for this documentary, to work on it together, to watch him edit it, it's a pretty amazing experience. And he was there for me emotionally as I was grieving. John knows this, I had my daily cry, and he was there to support me every single day and every moment. So he's been a rock for me. You know, at a tough time. So to be able to share this experience, to show people, I'm really proud of it.